All right, guys, welcome back to Road to 55, brought to you by Chasing Range, the podcast. We got Kyle, Joe, Luke, myself, Victor. We're all excited. Let me start off this show real quick. Smell you later, Big Ben. Smell you later. You know what? Cleveland sent him home, so let's jump right into it. Cleveland won last week. Buffalo beat the Colts. Rams took down the Seahawks. The Bucs had a tight one with the Redskins. Baltimore taking down the Titans, and the New Orleans Saints sent the Bears packing. So we're moving on. You know, week 2, they call it the divisional round. There's 8 teams left. Packers are rested. Chiefs are rested. Guys, looking at last week, Joe, who was your biggest disappointment last week who went home?
Who went home? The Steelers by far. I mean, I know they always find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. But with how good they were, winning 11 straight, I think that they just sort of choked again. And, you know, I know the competition is good in the playoffs, but you got to win. You got to get past one of these rounds.
It's been too long.
You got to make it to at least to the AFC Championship once in a while now, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Disappointment.
Kyle, what about you, buddy?
So for me, it's actually the Titans. I did ask the question last week, can Lamar Jackson win a playoff game? He proved yes, and he did take over that game. So I am now a believer in Lamar Jackson. So, but yeah, the Titans, I thought we said it, Joe, like Derrick Henry hasn't got tired, and I was like, yeah, he's not going to get tired. He's going to run over. He had like 24 yards or something. Like he had a very low game.
I know, crazy.
Luke, what about you, buddy?
It's Seattle. I mean, it's clearly Seattle. And the biggest disappointment of that game is Seattle's offensive line and their offensive play calling. That was pitiful. I knew the Rams had a chance just based on their defense. I didn't expect them to – I said they had to hold Seattle to under 20 points, and they basically did that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's Seattle offense was terrible.
That's the only reason I didn't go with Seattle – as my biggest disappointment is because, quite frankly, at the latter half of the season, they weren't playing up to par nearly as they were at the beginning of the season. So it's sort of like they faded, you know?
Neither were the Steelers, though. Steelers' offense completely crumbled as well.
I just feel like we didn't hear anything from the Seahawks the last few weeks.
It's a fair point. They had some gross, 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, losing the Giants or barely beat the Giants, I forget. But,
they lost, yeah.
They did, right? So just – between you two, I was torn. It was Seattle or Pittsburgh. And I'm going to go with Pittsburgh based off the fact that Seattle has been down. But Pittsburgh didn't lose. They they gave the game away. I mean,
Pittsburgh.
Marquise Pouncey, that first snap of the game, that's not like him. The amount of drops they had, the interceptions, overthrowing checkdowns by Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, every aspect of the game, they gave that game away. They didn't even lose the game. They gave it to Cleveland. And Cleveland took advantage. All the credit to Cleveland in the world. They took advantage of every mistake. But, the Steelers gave it away. And I'll lead right in. My biggest surprise is the LA Rams, man. So I'll jump right into that. And that's why I don't want to give the Seahawks too much doubt, because I'm a Jared Goff guy. I went back and looked at his stats today, and I recommend you guys do. It's unbelievable how underrated he is based off of his stats. And I know it's all about winning in the NFL, so stats only go so far, but the kid's a winning quarterback. And Robert Woods isn't as good as he's portrayed. Neither is Cooper Kupp. Those connections, that chemistry is really good between those three. And Jared Goff makes them better. They make him better, and it works out great, right? So for me, it has to be the Rams. That defense is unreal. I made a lot of money off the Rams this year. I like the Rams team. We'll talk about our projections for this week later. But for me, I don't want to give them the biggest surprise, but I'm mostly impressed that they came in, they handled business, and they played to their potential. That's why I'm very happy with the Rams this week. Kyle, who's your biggest surprise of the week?
It's got to be the Rams too. I mean, we talked about it, how Goff was questionable, and then he they started Walford and he played a series or something, and then he got decked in the head and
rocked.
He went to the hospital for that. So Goff had to come in with a broken thumb, and he clearly wasn't throwing the ball right. I mean, he actually had some decent passes. They said in practice every fourth pass or something was good or was wobbly or whatever. But clearly that thumb was bothering him. Anyone who's thrown a football will know that thumb is so important. Even if you have a pinky injury, any part of your hand when throwing a football, that's no good. But Yeah,
So like
very
if you,
impressed with their defense.
unless you cut your thumb like week before the Super Bowl, you still winning.
True.
But
Joe,
yes.
who was your biggest surprise?
I kind of want to say the Ravens. I didn't think they would come to the way they were sort of playing down, and I didn't think they would get it up for the playoffs. Lamar had a lot of pressure on them. They stepped it up. I mean, not only did they win, I was surprised by the win, but they handily won. You know,
I mean, they
They're
held the
gonna be
Titans
tough.
to 13 points, I think it was.
They were down
and
10-0 early too.
the thing about the Titans is, I mean, they're a very good team. They're not the best, but they're very well coached. So it's impressive that they won.
Yeah. Luke, what do you got? Biggest surprise of the week?
I mean, you already mentioned it. It's how flat Pittsburgh came out against the Browns. That was pitiful to see a team that was on pace to go undefeated in the middle of the year or late in the year to come out that flat, and they were down 28-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah,
something crazy. Like
the first
it
5
was.
minutes.
I've never seen a team collapse that
It's
hard.
very interesting. The
I think
Steelers have this track record of they have this game plan all season, and it works all season, and then come postseason, Tomlin changes the whole plan, and it goes south.
I don't even think it was a change. I think they started seeing the game plan not work the last 5-6 weeks. Like if you watch a lot of the broadcasts with Pitt, because they were on a lot of national broadcasts, like even the announcers were saying they were doing this short passing scheme, and teams were just playing it. They were playing them straight up in the short passing game, and they never pivoted from that game plan. So I mean, it caught up.
They got to adjust.
Yes, yeah. There was no adjustments. There was just like see it through the end, and their season ended way too early, in my opinion. So that's my biggest surprise, is how flat they came out.
Yeah, and I mean the biggest disappointment for me is like Marquise Pouncey is a first round or a first ballot Hall of Famer. In the first snap of the game's over Ben's head into the end zone. I'm sorry, James Conner, be an athlete, bro. Cover that ball up. But anyway, let's move on to this week, guys. I mean, we did some exciting games. I mean, Rodgers, Breeze, Tom Brady in the same conference. I mean, what? Like, it's wild. So let's start with the 4:30 game tomorrow. We get the Rams at Green Bay. Green Bay's favored by 6.5 points. Man, I said I'd get Green Bay by -6.5, but then we talked about the Rams. I think the Rams are going to battle in this game, but the Packers are rested. They're healthy. They were a team that battled injuries all year. Scantling's healthy. Lazard's healthy. Giving Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams time to rest, giving even Aaron Rodgers time to rest. I just think that they're going to get this game done. They're going to win by 10, but it's not going to feel like they won by 10. Like, it's going to be a grind the whole game through, and Aaron Donald's still going to be an animal, and Jalen Ramsey, but the Packers are just such a better team. I like LaFleur, their coach. I get the Packers winning that game. What do you guys think? Rams or Packers? And give me some reasons why.
Yeah, it's funny you said like they're going to win by 10, Vic, because I actually have my final score. I actually have Packers 27, Rams 17. A couple of reasons why. I just think Rodgers is like this playoffs actually is like a nice swan song where it's like you said, Breeze, Brady, Rodgers, like the old guard. It's like we're getting like the final, like.
Is it like Kyle? One of them has to dethrone Mahomes. They have to. Like Brady deserves number 7, but I want Breeze to get number 2. I want Aaron Rodgers to get number 2. Like their time is almost up, but it's like. Just don't let Mahomes win. One of you beat Mahomes. Yeah. I don't care which one it is. He's going to win 10 more.
It's his trophy to lose, really. So, like, yeah, but then, like, you got the NFC. I mean, obviously, Brady or Breeze, one of them is going to get knocked out. But, yeah, I think the Bucs have the best chance. But just focusing on this Rams-Packers game, the X factor for me, I think, is going to be Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Because every time there's a big game, I feel like every time I turn on the TV and watch that guy, like, he's scoring a TD or, like, Devontae Adams is a monster, so he's getting like all the attention there. So Scantling, he like kind of benefits from like
a lot of deep balls
forgotten about kind of because there's so much attention to Devontae Adams, there's so much attention to Aaron Jones that it's like he's kind of like the beneficiary of that. So I don't know though, the Rams, like we said, the Rams defense, but all about health for me for the Rams. Like that's my biggest question mark. How healthy is Jared Goff? Obviously, how healthy is Aaron Donald, who took like a shot to the ribs last week and like he like couldn't breathe. So like He didn't even come back in the game, so like, is he going to be good
I
to
wasn't
go?
even sure he was capable of getting hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
The
he
way
was,
he
like,
looks.
robot.
So, Joe, tell me who you have winning and who's an X factor for that team to win.
Who I think that the Rams are going to beat the Packers at home. The Packers play incredibly well at home, more specifically Aaron Rodgers. Doesn't throw a lot of picks, very focused. But I think the X factor is actually going to be Sean McVay. I think that he's getting significantly better as a coach. He was a good coach when he played against us. It's just, teacher-student, right? But now that I think that when he lost the Super Bowl, I think he gained a lot from that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we saw last week he had no offense essentially. The tires were off the car, but he still found a way to figure it out, scheme the defense. I think McVay, Donald, Ramsey, those guys are hungry.
Yeah, I mean
it's
that's a
hard
fair
to
take.
pick the Packers at home, but again, I just think the Rams are going to do it.
Cool, Luke, what you got, big dog?
Listen, the X factor for this game is going to be the front line for Green Bay versus the Rams defensive line. I think the Green Bay is going to have to run the ball. Aaron Jones is going to be the secondary X factor. Can he break some runs? Because they're going to need to give Rodgers some clean pockets, some play action. Because he can beat him deep any day with Devontae Adams. It's just a matter of getting Devontae a step. So yeah, those are my X factors: is the front five for the Packers versus the Rams defensive line, and then Aaron Jones is a little kicker.
So let's move on to this next game. I mean, it's weird to say the Buffalo Bills are fighting to be in the AFC Championship. Like, it's just weird to say. And they're playing against the Ravens. So naturally we're like, yeah, it's the Ravens, right? Harbaugh, Flacco, like we just all this history in our mind even before that, right? We get the Bills favored by 2.5. It's in Buffalo. Obviously, it's going to be cold. Who knows if there's snow? What do you guys have? I mean, Luke, let's go right back to you. Let's give you the first take on this game. Who do you have winning it, and who's the X factor?
Firstly, regardless of who wins, we're going to have a new up-and-coming star in the AFC Championship game.
Hell yeah.
Honestly, if you look at the playoff bracket for the AFC, it's going to be a new up-and-coming star regardless of who wins to get to the AFC or in the Super Bowl. You have Mahomes, who's been there before, but he's still,
25.
he's still super young, yeah. And then you have Baker, Lamar, and Josh Allen. So, kudos to the AFC. Like, this is super exciting.
Isn't it wild, boys? Like, so we're 30 years old, and we're watching all of our heroes, Breeze, Rodgers, Brady, all about to take off, and we got the new superstars are all younger than us.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like, what a world. So, sorry. So, what's your X factor? Who's winning this game, Luke?
So I'm gonna go Ravens over the Bills. I think it is gonna be a close game. I think both quarterbacks are gonna show their youth, and they're gonna make some mistakes, whether it's a rushing fumble by Lamar or an untimely interception by Allen. But I see the Ravens defense just sort of like how the Rams controlled the first round game. It's going to be the Ravens defense coming off that huge win, that exclamation point of stamping on the Titans logo and dancing. The boys came to play, and they're hungry. And like the Rams, they have a very solid defense. I think that's going to be too much for the Bills.
They got that like Ray Lewis swag coming back.
Swag, yeah, they have a lot of swag. They're together.
Yeah, so Joe, you got Ravens or Bills, and what's something that you think could really impact this game?
I'm going with Bills. They're rolling. Josh Allen has really stepped up. The running game is big. Their secondary is huge. I think it's just the end of the line. It's the end of the line for the Ravens. They've had a good season. Surprised us last week. I didn't think they'd win. I don't think they'll win this week. I just think it stops for them. They got better. Lamar won, but that's it. I think the Bills are going to go.
So I agree with you, Joe. I have the Bills, but I want to give you my other X factor on the other team. Marcus Peters gets very fired up, and he gets into a lot of trouble on the field. Is he going to be able to handle Stephon Diggs, and he's going to be able to keep his cool? I think he's the X factor for this game. I'm not worried about their front seven and slowing down Singletary and Zach Moss. I'm more worried about, can Marcus Peters keep his head on straight and slow down Diggs? And I don't think he can. I think Diggs is going to have another big game. There's not a corner in the league that can stop him right now. I get the
Peters had a good game last week too.
Peters is a great corner, but he loses his head when he's overmatched. And that's he gets into trouble. I got the Bills winning this one. Diggs is going to have another 10 for 100 game and a touchdown or two. Kyle, you got the Bills, Ravens, and give me a quick reason why.
Yeah, you actually took my X factor right out of the words out of my mouth. I got Marcus Peters. This is actually a matchup of the week, is Marcus Peters versus Stephon Diggs.
It's a big one.
Including Brady Breeze. I think this is the most interesting matchup this week here. So for me, Lamar Jackson, he's got the monkey off his back, right? He finally won a playoff game. He took over that game. He was dynamic. The most dynamic player, I think we all agree, since Michael Vick came into the league. And I think he's going to be a big reason. I think Diggs is going to have – so I have a little bit of both. I think Diggs is going to have a big game. Big-ish, maybe like 100 yards, maybe a TD. And I don't think that's a bad game for Marcus Peters. I don't know if he's going to shut down Diggs. Like you said, Diggs is unstoppable.
Sorry, so who do you have winning this?
Yeah, sorry. So I have the Ravens 20 over the Bills 17. So I think
it's close game, yeah.
I think Lamar is more of a factor than Diggs will be.
Okay, cool. So let's move on. I'll give you guys my first take. So you got Cleveland at Kansas City. Chiefs are -10. I get the Chiefs covering that. I have the under as well. I think it's going to be an early and often route, and it's going to slow down, and that's why I have the under. I'm going to tell you why, guys. The Chiefs are way more disciplined than the Steelers. Their playmakers are better. Their quarterback is better. Their defense is better than the Steelers, and they're not going to make the mistakes. They're not going to snap a ball over the head. They're not going to gift anything to the Browns. So I'm not going to give you an X factor. I'm just going to say that the Chiefs are a far superior team than the Steelers. It's going to be a little bit of a wake-up call for the Browns. But you know what, Cleveland? Welcome to the big league. You got a playoff win. Baker Mayfield, keep fucking rolling, baby. Dog pound. I'm so excited that they're good. So excited they're relevant. But they're running into the Chiefs, and it's the Chiefs' lead right now until they get to the NFC. We'll see what happens. But whoever wants to go. Joe, why don't you go first, bro? You got Chiefs or the Browns, and tell me why.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
At the end of the road for the Browns, the Chiefs are just one of those teams. They've been – they're so successful. They're young, fast, talented, explosive. They've had, 2 weeks off at least. I mean, I think once they get popping, it's really hard to compete with them. I think if you play down from them, 1, 2, 3 touchdowns, it's really hard to come back. And they're going to have to sustain long drives, which is really difficult too. It's one of those things where the Chiefs you can blink and the Chiefs can score, 2 touchdowns on offense and then run one back, Chiefs I think the Chiefs by a mile.
Cool. Luke?
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns in this. And it's gonna depend on the game plan again. Like, I'm putting it all on the coach making the right decision. But I think that this matchup is very similar to the Rams-Green Bay matchup, where can Cleveland take the ball out of Baker's hands and limit it to the right opportunities? So it's sort of different with Rodgers, and I said running Aaron Jones and getting the play action and sort of making Aaron Rodgers safe in the pocket and giving those receivers a step. It's very similar. Like, don't let Baker roam the pocket and make a mistake. So control the tempo. Use that running game because they have Kareem Hunt and Chubb. Like, they have 2 premier backs that can tear you up. So you need to utilize those assets, especially in this game when you're a very big underdog. And like you said, the Chiefs can blink and it'll be a touchdown.
Cool.
But
So
I'm taking the Browns.
Cool. So Kyle said it weeks ago. Cleveland's his dark horse to win the Super Bowl. He said they're taking down the Steelers. They took down the Steelers. Here we are. We're in the divisional round. They're facing the best team in football from the last few years. Are they taking Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs down? Are they sending them home?
So I'm going to start here. So the three-headed monster of the Chiefs, right, that I like to call, Travis Kelce, over 100 yards, over 100 catches this year, insane. 1,400 yards, 11 TDs. Tyreek Hill, 87 catches, 1,276 for yards, 15 touchdowns. It's absurd. And then Mecole Hardman, 41 catches, 560, only 4 TDs, but he's like that's kind of like the big three I see there. One interesting thing I noticed when I was kind of researching this game as well, the Chiefs didn't really have much of a running attack this year. Patrick Mahomes was 3rd on their team in rushing. They have Le'Veon Bell, which I think we all kind of forgot about because, I mean, at least I did. Like, I forgot. Yeah, like ever since he
Clyde Edwards too, but
yeah. So I think Kelsey's gonna have a monster game. I think if he stays healthy, he is gonna shatter all of Gronk's records. Unfortunately, like I mean, the guy's just a beast. With that being said, I'm gonna ask you guys if you have your tickets because the Baker Mayfield train rolls on, baby. This is why I'm telling you. This is why the Browns are gonna win this game.
yeah, I'm not getting on that train, bro. There's a big cliff, and they're going right off of it.
No, man,
it's over.
There's still room.
But I want to give you one name you didn't mention, Kyle. Sammy Watkins. He's healthy. He played the last 2 weeks of the season. He looked good. They played him in limited minutes. Watch out for Sammy Watkins. I mean, they're going to give Hill the double team, Chelsea the double team. Sammy Watkins is a true number 2. Watch out for him for over 100 yards. That's my little bold stat take.
Or those sneaky touchdowns.
Exactly. Yeah. He's going to be in there. So last and final game. This one might get a little heated. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady at Drew Brees and the Saints. Saints are favored by 3. It's a 6:40 game on Sunday. Thank God those midnight games can be tough. Let's save Joe for last. Luke, you got the Saints or the Bucs, and tell me why, baby.
Yeah, first off, Sammy Watkins is out for the game. But
what? He played the last week of the season.
Way to pop that
he's out of the game. But
Are
anyway.
You sure?
That's fucking funny.
You can check it. I'll move on. So the Bucs are taking down the Saints. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. It was my pick of the week in Chasing Rings, the podcast, our main episode, where I think that they're the under 52. I think it's going to be very competitive from the point of view of the quarterbacks, from a game management point of view. Like they're going to rely heavily on their running games. And I think we're gonna see some father time elements with the pass rushes of both teams. I think we're gonna see the quarterbacks collapse in the pocket, go down safely, and I don't know. It's gonna be Brady. It has to be Brady. I just think that sort of like the Nets, the Bucs are too big to fail, especially with Brady clicking with Gronkowski and even AB. And Evans and he's starting to click with them, even though it hasn't reached its full potential. It's
4 straight games. AB has a TD.
It's too big to fail. Yeah.
Sorry, Luke. So you have the Bucs?
I have the Bucs.
Okay, Kyle. Bucs or Saints? Saints -3. What you got?
Yeah, this one I think is gonna be a classic. This might be maybe the best 2 quarterbacks. Definitely the best quarterback. Drew Brees may be conversation for second best quarterback. At least statistically, he's up there. Like this is like a 1-2 matchup. I think. This game is going to be a classic, I think. I have Bucs 31, Saints 30. I think this is going to be a crazy game. Tom Brady has never lost 3 times to the same team in the same season ever in his career. And I don't think that happens. I do think, Luke, you brought up Antonio Brown. I think he actually has 2 TDs in this game. I think they are clicking. And Rojo was out last week. So, I think he'll probably come back. But Fournette looks good. It's it's just an embarrassment of riches on that team. And their defense is concerning me. I do want to give a quick shout out to Taylor Heineke last week because he played his nuts off for the Redskins. For the Washington football team. But yeah, I mean, that game was a little closer than I thought it would be. But Tampa Bay, I think, has a good defense. I think they've just been slipping lately, and I think this is the big matchup. And they've seen the Saints twice already. We'll see kind of what Bruce Arians has up his bag of tricks, or if he has any tricks, because. We know Belichick would make the adjustments the third time. Is Bruce Arians, does he have a little Belichick in him? He did say, do your job this week.
Yeah. The Bucs are going to win by a touchdown. But it's going to be a very, I think it's going to be a lot of field goals. You're going to see this game where both teams are going to move the ball, but they're going to bend, not break those defenses. It's going to be a very, very close battle. I like the 31-30, Kyle. I just think that at one point, either the third or fourth quarter, the Bucs are going to take over and score that touchdown, and that's going to be the difference. Is that one that big touchdown late in the game?
Yeah. All right, so I'll give you guys mine and let Joe go last. So I've been teeter-tottering a little bit more now that we talk, right? And this is why we do this. So I'm looking at that Redskins game, and it's very easy to say they only won by 8 to the Washington football team, and Heineke doing his thing and all that stuff. The one impressive thing that I liked about the Bucs is they kept McKissick and Gibson in check catching the ball out of the backfield, which was a big concern for me going into this matchup with Alvin Kamara. What do you have, 6 touchdowns 2 weeks ago? I mean, he's a beast unleashed. But the Bucs kind of play that same game that the Patriots always do, the bend don't break defense. But they've been breaking a little bit too much lately, and I think that's what scares me. I mean, it's so hard to say because I don't know which one of you just said it, but it's clicking so well with AB and Gronk and Mike Evans. I mean, unbelievable year. But I just see Drew Brees. He's getting his boys back. He's a few games back from the rib injuries. The Saints have a much, much, much better defense than the Redskins or the Washington football team, in my opinion. That front line is a monster. They got to Brady both games. They ate Brady up. Cameron Jordan was a freak. I just think Sean Payton's a better coach, too. I see too many things going in New Orleans' favor. It's going to be a close game. I have this one going high scoring as well. 37-33. And I know it's a weird score, but 37-33, that's what I got. A few field goals, a lot of offense, a lot of getting to the 30 and getting stopped. Both defense going to bend, don't break, and give up field goals. Joe, what you got, big boy? And tell me why the Bucs are winning. I already know who your pick is.
Why they're winning? Because of him right here. I think that it's TB12 has this ability to just make everyone else around him better. So now they're going to go out there in the divisional round, and they're going to – the most losingest franchise in American sports history. They're finally running out there, and they're looking ahead, and they see TB12 ahead of them, right? They know, like, we got this now. This is legit. This is real. We're here. Like, he's our guy. I just think that it's time. And Kyle said Brady's never lost 3 to the same team.
Let's go.
Yeah, even if it's not even that, the 3 to the same team this season, it's playoffs. It's Brady. He's playing well. He knows that everyone is like a lot of people are against him. A lot of people talk shit all season, off season. Like we remember bringing this sucker home, right? Super Bowl 51,
of course.
Right? Super Bowl 50 was it 51? It's going to be the same thing. Goodell's going to hand him the trophy, and I don't know if he's going to say bringing the sucker home because his real home is here. But I think that handily 38-20 Bucs.
So what do you think it will take for them to get, to do better than they did the last 2 games? I mean, they were smoked both games against the Saints. Well, what do they need to do? Can they contain the Saints and can they score on the Saints? I mean, they struggled on both sides of the ball in both games.
Yeah, I think that they're like the Saints. It's 2 more games that the Bucs have film, right? And I agree with you. Sean Payton is the better coach, very good coach. It's like the Brady magic type thing. I don't like to use the superpower thing. It's nothing like that. I just think that it's Brady. It's playoffs. Mike Evans dodged a bullet. He says he's almost 100%. It was a hyperextension. You got him, you got Brown, you got Gronk. I mean, we've all seen what Rob Gronkowski has done for us in the playoffs, particularly in Super Bowls, big-time catches. So he's going to go to his go-to guy, Gronk.
So just to point out, it was a 46-point differential in those 2 games. Listen, I'm rooting for Tom. I just don't think they have it. You 3 get the Bucs winning it. I don't. Real quick, where we're at now, there's 8 teams alive. I still have the Packers winning the Super Bowl. Joe, who do you got winning the Super Bowl?
Bucs.
The Bucs. Luke?
I'm going to go Green Bay.
Sitting with Green Bay. Kyle, you sitting with Cleveland?
Yeah, I'm going to ride to that takeout.
All
He
right,
wants to
sitting with
pick the
Cleveland.
Bucs, but he's sticking with Cleveland.
Exactly.
He does. Hey, so that wraps it up for the road to 55, guys. I'm glad it didn't get too feisty. Me and Joe get a little feisty sometimes, but let's see what happens. Big week ahead. Make sure you guys watch some football, man. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait to watch. And thanks for watching, guys. Chasing Reigns, road to 55. We love you guys. Appreciate you. We're out.
Go Bucs.